So yeah, hello and welcome back to the fourth episode of the Talos Principle Editor. In the last episode we made this little box-shaped map, and in this episode we make our map a bit better and add a sky and a light into this map, so we actually have better lighting and all. So yeah, first thing, I forgot to mention some things in the last episodes, or I simply don't knew that too. So, first Solace had put on Steam this whole, yeah, topic, that's the right word, on it, which some things I forgot or I just didn't do, so he said, I don't think it's a good idea to show the people the free movement with escape. He has assigned some other movement methods, part 2, part 3, and some other information. So it's kinda useful. I can't now record those episodes new, but it's hacky for you to see. I linked in the comments of the other 3 episodes just a link to this post so you can read it on your own because it's really helpful and yeah, it's really helpful. Yeah. So. We add now the skylight. For anybody who does not get how to get this green box on the map, press insert on your keyboard. This will show this green cube. Okay, now we get a sun into our level. So the easiest way to get a sun in our level is basically to just steal this from a real level. So you're gonna use the explorer to navigate to some levels which are actually made real. So let's take, I don't know, let's take Cloud 17, just hit a double click, and this is the cool thing about the editor too, you can just load up official levels and see how they're made, and this is actually kinda hacky way. If you don't know how to link some objects or something, you can just always take a look if you know, but in the level Cloud 104 or something, they made it like this, then you can just open up the level and take a look how they actually made it. So you see, this is an official level. Yeah, and you always see, if I now press T over here to simulate that whole thing, it obviously takes up time. Yeah, oh man, that's loud, but you see, it's actually, the fully working map as it's in-game, and it's kinda loud. Okay, so you obviously see many objects like those little circles, or there some points, and here's just a primitive sigil, and there are some circles, and that's all objects we need for map making. Now, so you see this huge box over here. And I will show you this too, but this is advanced stuff, so like triggers and so on, and having post-processing volumes for having the visuals better. That's just always advanced stuff which I'll show in another tutorial. So first I set the EV back to 0 because it's really light over here, so this is actually darker. Yeah, so the sky, you see the sky is gray, but if you simulate, you see there is a skybox. And always a sunlight because you see shadows. And I'll show you, the sky is not actually in the editor. So yeah, it's in the editor. So if you go down your map, you see here's just... You see over there, if you move with this free movement camera, you can use the mouse wheel to increase or decrease camera speed. You see here is the skybox. It's actually down the ground because it would basically just go on the nerves if you have it in your map. So this is just a cube background. And we go to entity, you see here it got a texture, it's this background C texture, and you can just go ahead and steal this. So I think this is a bit dark sky, so maybe we close this level and take another one where we have a kinda lighter sky. No, cloud 1-4 for example. I don't always know which sky is in which level. So let's take a look. Yeah, that sky is better. Texture is not always loaded, but I really like this. Yeah, so we're gonna take this guy. So I just move down, and here you see they used a little sphere here, which is a sun flare circle. This is just like this is a marker where you actually see the sun effects, the lens effects. So it's just like a fake volume or something. And here we got a script and a background rotator. I think what this does is basically it allows in this level to allow you to see that the clouds are actually moving because this rotates a bit. We don't need this, so just we select the flare and the cube background, and yeah, as you might know, holding shift and then click, and then you have it. And then we hit Control C. Now we can pop out of our level and go into our level and simple paste it. Okay, now you see this cube background is a bit rotated. You can rotate it to 0 if you want. So therefore you just select the original one and set this to 0. And I set also the coordinates to 0 because I'm a person who always wants to have this tidy. And then you can also move this down off your map, so it won't go on your nerves if you edit here and go against the volume. Then you need to reposition the flare, because the flare actually makes the realistic effect. So we move this down, and you see in the texture where the sun point is where the sun would be, and then you just drag the flare to be on that point. So like, yep, I think this is right. So let's go back to our level, and if we now hit T here, you see we've got a sky, and the whole thing looks better now. And you see we have glare effects because we're actually a bit blending or something like that. So I really like the sky. But you see it's all unlit because we have no shadows at all. So we need to have shadows. So we pop into our reference map and chase for the sun. And yeah, the stuff of the level is actually here. So if you take a look at the heaven, you shall somewhere see a little yellow sun or something. Or you just go into the big navigator over here and search for sun. It's always named sun, I think. They named it sun. Yeah, you see there, sun, it's marked there. Yeah, this is the sunlight. And you see this is a little, a light, a spotlight primitive, and this shows in the direction where the light would go. And in this direction the light is facing, so shadows will be like this where I move my mouse pointer. So you can imagine that. So we also hit just Control C and go into our map and hit Control V. And now you see it looks pretty ugly because we moved the sunlight a bit, and even if we move this won't change, because if we rotate now the sun, you see we actually rotate the sunlight. So I'd like to face the sun in this direction, and you can the axes are not relevant, I think. If you now hit T, you see actually many stuff here is just black, and we have some kind of shadow, but it's black, and that's really ugly. So first thing you need to do always, even you can show the shadows in your map if you want. So you go to rendering and do I find this? Yeah, here, dynamic shadows, activate it, and then you see how it would look in game. So yeah, this is our sunlight, and now the sunlight is it has this projector texture, which is like a texture which shows where should be light and where not, which gives this black thing. I don't like this, so I just set this to none, and then we have lighting at every point. So first thing we do if you imported a new sunlight is to bake it. So to bake it, you just hit Shift B, and then while you selected the sunlight, and it says 3 objects baked. So this is the first step. It's back black again. So now we go to the entity list. I switch to the big one, and we need a probe light. A probe light is basically that the black things are not black, just a bit darker. And they are also act like an cube map. So we take the probe light over here. Okay, I clicked on there, but he jumped some otherwhere. Probe light here. Drag this into your map, and this gives us a little black circle. You can now increase the size, so this is just the size where it would capture. So I take this to 20 by 20 by 20, and the preview size is like how big this ball is in our editor. So once you have this, I move this a bit down, up. Now you just need to bake this. So also again hit Shift B. This takes a bit, and then you see all is great. It says now here, sector list an object refers to unexisting visibility sector background. That's because we copied it from a level who actually has sectors. You see over here, if you click on sectors, you see it says many sectors. That's the thing I showed you in the first part. So the sun refers to this background thingy, and we don't have it. So just click on the sun, and let me think. Oh, I think it wasn't the sun. I think it was, it was the background. So you click on the background, and here you see initial sectors. You just remove the background string from here and check all other things if they have background too. And now you just don't have this issue. Okay, with this thing applied, you see a little circle which shows back actually how our environment is looking like. If you click on this, hit Shift B, this will light the things up a bit. And if I now hit T, you see we have beautiful gray shaders which are more realistic than they are if they are just tainted black. Okay, so that's all about lighting and adding a background. One thing about lights, you can always add lights, nah? So you in your entity list, you can, for example, take another light if you want to add a light somewhere. I search for lights, so you can just go here under lights. We have spotlight, omni light, fast light. So if you take a spotlight, for example, this is like a cone. You can rotate this to be here, and then you see this actually affects a bit white on the wall. So under entity, you see we can select the lamp color. So just we can set the G and the B, and this affects red light. And yeah, so for example, where we have the light type, the inner angle. So this is the angle how wide the light should actually affect our wall. So this gives a really sharp point, as you see. And if you now take you actually see you can modify the things over here. You can control this by scripts if you want to, and you see even the higher you take this color value, the higher the lamp will be. So therefore you can create really cool lamp colors, and really cool thing. So you see we can just create a lamp over there, and so that's all about lighting. That was not the only thing of this tutorial. Now we extended our map with those things, and now I will show you how we add the first game logic entities, like a transponder, which is just a laser, a receiver and emitter, a plasma wall, and a generic item like a jammer. Okay, so Okay, that was a little bug from the OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. It just did stop. So I start over, which I told you. So yeah, we are in our level here, and we will make now some game logic components, like as are said. I hope that's on the recording. I didn't check. Like lasers and so on. First, if you take something out of my data board, you may have this issue that it is not pickable up. So if you are in the data board and take, for example, like a cube, drag this into your map. Okay, it's not draggable in the map anymore, I think. Or well, yes, because those containers are empty. This is a problem which I had because the guys from Talos Principle just did an update and added some new stuff. So this is what Soleil posted on the Steam forums, and it's just says on the console, write EDT convert generic items to items and hit enter. And this should convert all items on your map, yeah, to real, to new usable items. I don't think you have them because actually, yeah, you just started with me and we don't have this. But so you will go to the new changes, but the old way was that you have a generic item, and this generic item is not usable anymore because they have changed it. So I think it works for all things I have here, except some things like, yeah, I think just the jammer, the cube, and the energy rod are not right, so my data board might be a bit broken. So I will put a new data board in the description from my side, not Soleil's ones, which has this fix applied. Okay, so we can delete the jammer, the cube, and the energy rod because they're actually a bit broken. And that's a cool thing because I can then show you how you edit the vanilla way without the data board. Okay, so we start by adding the cube, and I think the cube was of the class pickable item or something. So what you can do is, yeah, we've got jammer over here. If we drag this in, you see this is, yeah, we start with the jammer. This is a blue cube, not a green cube, a blue cube. And under entity, where our entity options are, we can now specify him to, yeah, just be a jammer and not a blue box. So yeah, you see under here the item params. The item params are the parameters which define like the model of the jammer and the radius and the color and so on. And you just go on here and click on browse and navigate to the folder content, Talos, databases, items and miscellaneous. And there we see a bunch of EP files, item parameters or entity parameters in this case. And you just see the jammer. Take this and you see your jammer will now look like the real jammer. If we go into our level, you see we can pick this jammer up, place it down. And if you have the old version of my data board, you will see the jammer in the map, but you are not able to pick this up. And therefore you have the fix from Soleil to type in EDT convert generic items to items. You can just put this into your console, hit enter, and then it will say probably one entity or two entities properties converted. And yeah, so this is kind of new way they did. So we vanilla added a jammer, and now I will add this to my data board using Control C, Control V, dragging this into the game components folder, maybe down here, and pressing F2 to rename this into the jammer. We all did this in the data board tutorial. Okay, that about the jammer. So let's go advanced and take the energy rod. And the energy rod is basically the connector. And I fastly need to see where this one is. Because they have, yeah, here the cube is the carryable item right now. So yeah, let's do this first. Because of the new class names, a bit hard for me to remember those. Because first, I think first it was easier because we just had generic items and that worked out. So we drag the carryable item in. It's also a blue box. We go to entity. We have nearly the same parameters like the jammer, and we can just go here, browse. We are in the folder again and take cube. And there's our cube. And now we can jump in game, take our jammer, and take the cube. And we can mess around with them. Nice. Okay. So this is the cube. We also copy this and paste this into the databot and name this cube. And now we're gonna take the energy rod. So I quickly need to search for it, which class this was, because I have forgot. External joint, fan item. So actually it's a bit man. So they changed a lot the way. So I think a really nice way to look out which one of those classes it is to just grab a generic item, which is here. We drag this in. It has also this blue cube. We go to entity. It searches for item params, and we feed him the energy watt item params. And you see, this is now the way they did it before. We just add a generic item and give him entity params. The way now this does not work is, you see, we can take the cube, we can take the jammer, but we cannot take the energy watt, because they changed it, as I said. So to fix this, if you don't know which class it is, like I did, you just drag a generic item in and give him the params like energy watt, and then you type in the console edt, which I had in the board but not anymore. Edt convert generic items to items, and you see it says one entity properties converted, and it took the old jammer, which was a generic item, and put it to the new. Oh yeah, it's a carryable rod item. Okay, so the carryable rod class, and you see it has converted it, and this is the new way this thing works. And now we can just take this, copy, paste, and type in energy rod. So this is the way you would have if you not copy this. Well, that's, I don't know how this got there. So that's the way you basically don't need to do with those values, and what I did with the comment in the console, because you actually have my databot if you want to use the new one. I put it in the description, and you see now we can take the jammer and do stuff with it. So now the gem is pickable too. So as you see, I'm sorry, we have those items now. If you have this in a map, it's always a good idea to rebake the probe light with Shift B to have on the capture cube the new light applied. So yeah, if you see now, well, this is a bit light, because you see it's actually just right and you don't see anything. That's because of the post-processing. I will cover this in another tutorial, so don't mess around with that. So we started adding a cube, so I delete them quickly out of my level, and now we do some level logics. So I thought of making a simple plasma wall which is openable by a laser, and if we get advanced we can do another plasma wall which is opened by a switch. So let's start by I think I will add this. I will just copy and paste this. It's the same procedure I already showed you with copy pasting things. It's nearly easy. Oh yeah, and what Soleil said to me is if you hold Alt, I moved this quickly a bit more here, you see those little dots on the mesh, and if you, for example, click here, yeah, okay, that was not the thing. If you take this wall, for example, hold Alt, you see those dots, and if you hold this, you see you can snap this vertex to any other. So, for example, if I take now the dot of here, you see, it will snap to there, or here, or here. And this makes it really easy to just snap two objects perfectly together. So, yeah, it's fine, I think. So you can just go ahead and drag this back, or take this edge and drag this back to here, for example. So it's actually a quite useful feature. I don't know about that, so I'll learn stuff too. So now we just take our walls in here and align them, then that we can have here a little room, and then we start adding the plasma wall. So the plasma wall in my data board is over here, and the plasma wall is just as you see, it looks like this. It's a green primitive cylinder, and we have the blue plasma wall and a little the mesh, so you know that's from the game. Pressing tab will rotate it around 90 degrees, as we know, and here we can use the vertex snap to hold Alt, take the middle dot of here and align it to the middle dot of this wall. And you see, it snapped. Not perfectly, so if we hold Alt again, we can also snap this to the last here, but then it's a bit in the wall. So yeah, redoing this by just so you see it's perfectly now here. And if you like to see, yeah, I hate this cylinder, I want to align it to my wall, you can go to rendering and uncheck editor models, and then this cylinder is gone, and we can align this to our wall. Maybe a bit up, like this. So that's basically all. I just switched the editor models on again. If we go to entity, you see we've got the width and the height one. The width one is just if you modify this, you see the whole thing gets longer and longer. So you can drag this so long till it fits on the other side. So now it fits. And the height is basically the height of the green thing, and the green thing is the height of the plasma barrier. So I think making this as big as the mesh is not enough, because you see this actually is not as high as the editor model, so you basically move this a bit up like this. It's perfect. If you jump in game, okay, that's loud. You see we've got our plasma wall here. Perfect. So what about activating this? You see we've got an array here called activators, and this has activator 1, activator 2, and activator logic. And you see this can be changed from and, all must be active, to or, at least one must be active. So this is like simple logic. It says, and if you select two activators, both of them need to be on to make the plasma gate open. If it's set to or, at least one of those activator must be on. But yeah, it's well described over here. So firstly, we need to basically, you also see if you check here auto activate, this will check if the plasma wall is activated by default or not. But I like to have it activated by default. Okay, just a quick save. And now we can just start by adding some activatables to the wall here, for example. So we go into my databot again and go to lasers, go to red, and we take the receiver, the red laser receiver, and drag and drop this on our level. You see it's in the wall, and we have the Z fighting, so we just hit double tap and it's perfectly on that wall. Nice. So I'd like to align it a bit in the middle, and we've got the laser. So now we need a laser source. So let's put the laser source over here. And this is the transponder end. We just drag this onto the wall, double tap, and it's on the wall. Perfect. So now for the level logics, we just need one energy watt to connect those two together. So we go into the data board, take the energy watt we did create it, play, and now we can... Yeah, it's loud. You see how the laser works. The only problem we have is the gate does not open when the laser is activated. Why? Because we have not set it as an activator. So we go to our plasma wall, and under activators we click on activator 1. And once this activator 1 slot is selected, so it's blue, you hold Control and Alt. So you hold the Control and the Alt key, and then click on the red laser. And you see, this has set the receiver red transponder into the activator 1 slot, so this object is linked. And now if we play, we just grab that and that, connect this. You see, this one is loaded up and the plasma wall has opened. Beautiful. Oh, so this is exactly what we wanted to. We now created the laser activating with this plasma wall. I'm going to show you this with the AND logic, so we add another activator to this. I have the pressure plate over here. We drag this in. It's just the in-game pressure plate. We can stab on it. And we will connect this up too. So what we will do is we go onto the plasma wall again, go to activator 2 and select the pressure plate as we selected the laser receiver. So hit Control and Alt, hold it and click on the pressure plate. Now it's inside, and we just need a cube to stand on, so cube. Or even we can remove this cube and do this the tricky way. So you see, if I just go on the pressure plate, nothing happens. If I just activate the laser, nothing happens. But if I activate the laser and step on the pressure plate, then the door will open, because both activators are on. So to combine this the cool way, we can just connect this and stand up onto the pressure plate, and then we solved our first little really cheap level. Okay, so that's about all this tutorial. It's always a great idea to Shift B it, so you see it's adding the new elements and they have a better lighting. And in the next episode this will probably be a quick episode, because I show you just the post-processing object and what it affects on the scene. So bye!